Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. So to start, I wanted to ask, you have something that is a unique and new take on a rom-com, but still has some of those kind of rom-com beats that you have to have for audiences. What for you was the biggest challenge as a writer and director of making sure they felt as authentic as they could to this story while still being those little moments that fans are looking for when they go into a new rom-com?
Yeah, I love rom-coms because as a genre, it feels actually like very close to life, because I think love is funny and silly. I think love is also super heartfelt. And so that roller coaster of emotions, feels very organic to me. And so in many ways, as my co-writer James Shamus and I were writing, it was just about kind of feeling, the that journey of love, and wanting to have that be as authentic as possible. Of course, we had written some things and we even shot some things that like did not make it into the final movie because it didn't totally feel quite right. But it was a process of exploration and experimenting and discovery that I really enjoy as a filmmaker.
What I wanted to ask you, because I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a part of this movie where I was like, oh, are they gonna do like a big chill? And like, because I truly thought it was gonna be like a moment from that movie, and then it wasn't. It was a very different kind of storyline. But I wanted to ask you about influence and if there was any, not just rom-coms, but movies or things that you wanted to pull while making this movie, both in the direction process and also while you were writing it.
Yeah, I have so many random references. I think, that I spoke with my team about, um, we of course talked about the Wedding Banquet, but also other Ang Lee movies. We talked a lot about Each Drink Man Woman, especially because of the size of the cast, and just weaving storylines together in the way that that film does. Um, there's um, like a Lumiere brothers reference in the film. That's a super random one. I've got Vim Vender's Perfect Days reference in the film. My cinematographer Keejin Kim and I talked a lot about Ozu. There's some really fun Ozu singles that we utilized in the making of the movie. And then, just thinking about my own work, right? Like Driveways, Fire Island, wanting to find the right balance of what I've done already, introducing new elements, films that I love to create something that felt, very personal, very me. That's what I was hoping for.
Well, I wanted to ask a Fire Island question because it falls under one of my favorite genres of film, which is when we modernize a Shakespeare story.
Mm.
And so I wanted to ask you, when you as a creative are making something like your own take on a rom-com or modernizing something that people know, or that's not Shakespeare, that's Pride and Prejudice, but you know what I mean, the modernization of those stories. Um, how fun is it for you to do something like take a Jane Austen and turn it into a bunch of guys all on Fire Island together, or something like that? Like, how, do you have more fun in creating something like The Wedding Banquet, or do you love also doing that kind of adaptation process?
Yeah, I think depends on the mood. I think it's always great to be able to react to something, whether that's an original film or a book or concept. But at the same time, you can find that kind of reaction, just through a collaborative process on a news story. And so, I think where it gets hard is when you're just like by yourself in your brain trying to like create something fresh and new. Like that's so hard to do.
Mhm.
And so I really believe um, in kind of reacting. I think that that's really helpful in the creative process.
Yeah, and for my last question, I wanted to ask because it is so funny to watch Fire Island into this and see how different Bowen is in both of these projects, because Bowen is like almost a subdued version of himself in this, and I'm not used to seeing that side of Bowen Yang as an actor. And how was it, allowing him to do those Bowenisms in Fire Island, but then in this have him place like a much more kind of grounded and subdued character.
Um, yeah, you know, I think Bowen is such a dynamic actor and can do so much. He has such a beautiful range, and you know, I wanted to explore a different side of him in this film. When I think about a character that embodies millennial indecision, I think Bowen Yang is going to be perfect for that. And I'm excited to continue to work with him in the future. He's my muse, and I'm so excited to do other things with him that are maybe a little different. Maybe the next time it'll be a horror film or something. But I think he's such an incredible actor. I think he's a star, and I can't wait to you know work on the next project.
Well, I love this movie a lot. I'm gonna think about them trying to take all of the artwork off those walls, probably for a really long time. So thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.